Go Green for March by Jamie Kimball. Why do leprechauns like to recycle? So they can go green. According to the Department of Energy, we use 80 to 100 gallons of water each day. If we take that times 365 days in a year at a cost of 1 cent a gallon, we are spending $365 a year on water. Go green will save you energy, time, and money, and I like to get the most for my money. Let's look at green in 3 areas of our homes: our bathrooms, our laundry rooms, and our yards. Let's start our savings in the room that carries the biggest amount of waste, our bathrooms. Do you realize you can be flushing $100 down the toilet? Our toilets is the biggest consumers of water in our home. The EPA recommends a low flush toilet that uses 1.6 gallons versus our old standard toilets, which uses 6 gallons of water. 6 gallons of water. You may not think this 4 gallons of water made that much of a difference, but the EPA did a study. If you have 2 people in your household and they flush 3 times a day, you could be flushing $131 down the toilet each year. Not only switching to these low flush toilets can save you money, but they can also save you water. According to the EPA, the amount of water that we could save is the amount of water that flows through Niagara Falls in 2 weeks. Now let us see if our toilets are functioning properly. According to the Natural Resource Defense Council, an article written by Andrew Postman, he recommended the dye test. The dye test is a really simple test. All you need is these Easter egg dyes. These Easter egg dyes. You put them in the tank of your toilet and wait for 15 minutes. If the dye enters your toilet bowl, you realize that you have a leak in your toilet and you are flushing perfectly good water down the drain. He also recommended is don't use your toilet as a trash can. How many of you blow your nose and throw the tissue in the toilet and flush it? Every flush costs money, so make sure it counts. Now that we have learned how to save in our bathrooms, let's look to see how we can save. In one of the dirtiest rooms of our home, our laundry rooms. Here are some tips to save in our laundry room. For our washing machine, it is always good to pre-soak our stained clothes. The reason because of this is because it allows shorter washing cycles. Another great tip is we should always use cold water. This can reduce your heating bill. The EPA also recommends using detergents that have the symbol HE, which wash better with colder detergents. Now that we have learned how to save in our washing machines, let's see how we can save in our drying. It is always better to hang our clothes outside on those nice summer days. Another thing the EPA also recommends is using wood or rubber balls. This allows circulation to go through your clothes and it allows quicker drying times. The last thing the EPA recommends is to clean our filters. Now I know most of you are like, oh, I already clean my filters every time I do my laundry. But the EPA says that our dryer sheets leave film on our filters that we cannot get out with our hands. We need to use they recommend using toothpaste and toothbrush to get these extra little dust bunnies out of here. Now that we have learned how to save in our laundry room, let's move outdoors, where money really does grow on trees. Trees, bushes, can help with our cooling and heating of our home. They protect our home during the cold winter winds, and they protect our home during the hot summer heats. According to the National Research Defense Council, it is always better to plant native plants around your area. The reason because of this is because it requires little or no watering at all. Another great tip for watering came from Home and TV's garden show. They recommended watering at the roots. How many of you fall short and accidentally water the leaves? Don't worry, I do it too, but it is always better to water at the roots because it gives the water and nutrients the plants need. Another thing they recommended is watering during the coolness of the day. Now I know most of you are like, but shouldn't the plants get watered during the heat of the day? I mean, that's when it's going to need it the most? No, it needs it the most when it can get the most water. If you water it during the heat of the day, the heat will evaporate the water and the plants won't get as much water as it could on the cool days. The last thing that Home and Garden TV show recommends is planting wildflowers. And the reason because of this is wildflowers require less water than grass, and is so much better for our yards and gardens. According to U.S. News, an article written by Luke Mellon and Kimberly Patman, they recommended mulching. Now when you mulch, it is always better to mulch as a donut shape. The reason because of this, a donut shape instead of a cone shape, and the reason because of this is because when you water or when it rains, the water run off away from your plant, and it is never good to do that. The last thing they mentioned is that you should not water every day. The reason because of this is you can get root rot in your plants, and it kills so many plants a year of overwatering. They recommend that you should water once every other day or once every other week. We have seen 3 areas of our home how we can save energy, time, and money. We have seen in our bathrooms the low flush toilet grade, we have seen the dye test, and we have seen only flushing when it counts. In our laundry rooms, we have learned to only pre-soak our stained clothes, use cold water, and use detergents with the symbol HE. In our dryers, we learned to dry outside on summer days, and we learned to use wood or rubber balls. And most importantly, we learned to give a deep clean to our filters. In our yards, we have learned the importance of trees and bushes, and the importance of trees and bushes, and how we need to use natural plants around our area. We learned the importance of watering at the roots and watering only in the cool parts of the day, and how mulching can keep the moisture in our gardens, and don't watering every day. Going green will save us energy, time, and money. So let's not only wear green this month, let's save green this month. Thank you for listening.